Welcome to the Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast, Alleah.
Hey, Jeff, thanks.
So I'm excited to talk with you because you are my coach, my law of attraction coach. You are the one that's helped me really understand what energy work is and how to implement it in my life and my business. So I just want to wrap with you today and really have people and myself get to know you a little better, and let's just talk about what's going on.
Great. You've been a great client, so go wherever you want to go today.
All right. So first of all, can you just share a little bit about your journey and how you ended up in law of attraction and applying law of attraction in business?
Yeah, definitely. So I had been in business. I had gotten an MBA. I was working, making six figures in San Francisco, whatever that was 15 years ago. And everything looked good on paper, the job, the apartment, just the whole groove. But I quickly started freaking out, wasn't happy, didn't like things. And I ran into teachings like of Abraham Hicks, and which was along the lines of things I had seen in the past, watched the movie The Secret, been a Tony Robbins fan, and it hit me. And I started learning and started recognizing limiting beliefs and my language I was using myself and how I was blocking myself. And one of the things I had said for years was, I want a business and I don't know what. And the extra addendum that I don't say often is, I would say, I want a business and I don't know what. I'm just not very clever. What am I supposed to do? Think of the next Twitter. You can see how easy that rolled off my tongue because I had said it 1,000 times. But one of the first things I realized was, as long as I say, I want a business and I don't know what, I am now manifesting and energetically a match to not knowing. And so when I realized that was one of the first shifts I made, which led me to manifest the idea of my first business I started, which was wine importing. And then shit, man, ever since then, it's been a wild ride learning how to apply this stuff on an incredibly nuanced level to every aspect of business, money, life, relationships, everything.
Exactly. Well, and you mentioned too, like you're examining your thoughts, right? And what you're saying and, what you're saying out loud and what you're also saying in your head.
Absolutely. And really the core indicator is, how am I feeling right now? And so sometimes you hear yourself saying something like, God, I just don't know what to do, or fuck, why does this always happen? And you hear yourself, and that's an indicator to check in on how you feel. Sometimes you realize you feel like shit, you don't really know why. And then you can start inspecting what are some of the narratives going rampant in your mind. And so it's not black and white, but what we say and what we feel are so closely related. And those things become our energy, which is manifesting everything. That if you believe in this stuff, it's logical to become slightly obsessed over what we think and how we feel.
Exactly. Exactly. So how did you go from wine importer to law of attraction coach?
Good question. In the middle of me being a wine importer, you can imagine this is a very sexy thing, right? I'm traveling the whole world. I'm going to Europe 5 times a year. I'm eating lunches on the veranda cooked by Italian grandmothers. Everything is very sexy. The social media accounts. And it was a dream to become this wine importer. But once I was there, I realized it wasn't very fulfilling. Like, yes, you get to go on some cool trips, but anybody can go on vacation. And so I ended up getting my life coaching certification, which I don't necessarily use and don't necessarily recommend, but that 10 years ago was my first step. I became a certified life coach through the Tony Robbins Madonna Institute. And from there started having a couple of clients. Now, this was on the side of my wine business, but this little bit of work just brought a lot of meaning to my life. So I was doing this while growing the wine, and nothing big. Like at the time back then, it was a couple clients on the side. And then the wine business grew, grew, grew. And at one point, there was a change in the industry and there was going to be a lull in orders. I was actually excited about it because I'd been on so much for so many years. So I decided to just let it be. But in the meantime, I decided to grow my presence online. And then that took on a life of its own, as you can clearly see. And the more I was doing this, the less I wanted. And there was just this, over a 2-year period, I decreased wine and increased this until it was fully transitioned.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So let's talk about alignment a little bit, because that's kind of For some, that may be like a nebulous or not clear term, but as you know, as a student of yours, I know that's like everything. So, how do you define alignment right now?
Alignment, how I defined it, is feeling beautiful, feeling great, feeling tapped in, feeling in awe because this universe, if you believe this, is pure love. It's pure source energy. And if you have drank this level of Kool Aid and you believe that source energy is love, then when you are feeling love or anything in the neighborhood, you are in alignment with the universe. You know this because you feel good. We are lovers. We feel good when we love. We do not feel good when we don't love,
Mm,
even if we think it's justified.
yeah,
So alignment is feeling great. And usually in typical language, you'd say, oh, alignment is when your thoughts and beliefs and your actions are in alignment. And yes, you could say that. That's a very kind of vanilla way of saying it. But really, alignment is when you're feeling amazing, when you are feeling like the universe is just right there pouring the intel into your ear on what to do next. And yes, usually in that state of alignment, your words, your thoughts, and your feelings are all centered around what you want, what you appreciate, what you love, and you can feel that in your bones.
yeah. Now, but Aaliyah, just let's be honest, the business world equates success with financial success, with material success, with lifestyle success. And most of the people that are not having success feel like shit, right? Like they feel like shit, right? So how do you take these people that come in and they're feeling like shit and get them to feel like unconditional love?
Do any of that. That's not my job.
Well, so then let's just kind of talk about that, right? Like that's the reality I think of what I see, and maybe
All
maybe
right.
that was
Well,
just
the
me.
the where my response comes from is I take zero responsibility to convince anybody of anything. And so the foundation is that somebody has come to this on their own. Somebody has drank the Kool-Aid and they realize, oh, fuck, this energy thing is real
Yeah,
and I want to. So there's got to be, if somebody shows up at my door and like wants to chat, like is showing zero interest in this topic or is skeptical, I likely won't talk about it. If I'm at a
right.
friend's barbecue, I'm not out there preaching the word. I'm just drinking a beer, right? Because it's not my job to convince anybody of anything. However, there's a massive movement going on in millions upon millions of people are coming to the realization that yes, their energy is the main player of how their life is unraveling and they can control it, or they conceptually understand they could control it if they learned how to control their thoughts and their energy. In the beginning, that seems too big to do on your own.
Yeah,
However, somebody's got to be wanting to do this. And so if somebody is like wanting to do this and they're asking me how, that's when the party starts.
right. Exactly. And that's a great point, right? It's like I say, if I have to convince somebody that they're a spiritual being, then there's no convincing somebody. Either you know that it's true or you don't know it's true,
Yes.
right? And just like you know that your energy is involved or you don't know that your energy is involved, there's no convincing, right?
Yes.
So, what would you say then if you're looking at somebody applying the law of attraction? What would you say success looks like?
Success looks like feeling successful. And many people would have beliefs around, well, in order to feel successful, I must do X, Y, and Z. And that is difficult. And so I'm going to stress out and effort my way there. And there's this assumption that if I stress out and effort my way there, once I get there, I can feel successful. And unfortunately, that would never happen. Energy doesn't work that way. Success is not born a feeling of success, whether you are, and you'd want to ask yourself, are you going for the feeling of success or are you going for proof of success? Most people are just looking for, I want to achieve a proof of it so then I can feel it. And we can have both. We want both. However, that feeling of success is never born out of paper success that was created from stress. So we have to realize if I want the feeling of success tied to actual success, and I realize this is a vibrational world, then I can't have me feeling successful conditional on anything. I need to learn how to brew up feeling successful now. And when we can do this with a certain amount of ride or die attitude, and we can hold this in our vibration, that is when real paper success starts to happen, which then results in you having both because we want both.
Exactly. Because we still live in the physical universe, and the physical universe is vibrational, but we can just see, touch, and feel it.
Yeah, we're here. We're in a
Right.
physical world. We may as well like experience as much of the physical as possible.
Exactly. Exactly. Awesome. So, as far as in your own personal energy practice, like what's lighting you up right now? What's most exciting for you right now?
What's most exciting for me right now is manifesting a new home because I've been brewing up moving to Connecticut of all places. And so I have this amazing home right now, but I bought this when I was in the wine business and I traveled all the time and it's in the woods. It used to be a cozy place to go to after so much travel, but I don't travel like that anymore. So I've been
Yeah.
wanting something a little bit more lively. So what's lighting me up is manifesting not only just this house, but like the house and my daughter and her friends over, and me sitting there feeling amazing, super proud of everything that I'm building, everything around me getting bigger, richer, sweeter. And I do that. I think of that. I have a piece of paper that reminds me of where I'm going. I have a practice that helps me keep my eyes, my mind's eye on that, and brew up the emotion of that. It helps me go into my day with a success energy rather than a frazzled energy. So that's what's lighting me up right now.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Along that line, what would you say are some daily rituals that you do? And I know it's not, may not be every day, but like regular basis daily rituals that are like non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables. Yeah. So my non-negotiable is my energy routine in the morning.
So what does that consist of today?
Yeah, so it's usually so today's, which I did a little while ago, it was very typical. So I think I carved out it was probably 20 or 30 minutes sitting down and really without distractions with my little piece of paper right here that is reminding me where I'm going and for me to read into it. So one of the things, so on here I have some notes of where I'm going. So it says 2026 summer, it's 2025 right now, and it's got these notes on it of like what I want. Now, this is really important. Having a piece of paper with what you want is not the work. Being able to look at that and feel the vibrational essence is the work. So if you were to take 10 minutes to do an exercise of people are used to this kind of advice. You visualize something, got to know what you want, you can visualize it. But if you're going to spend 2 minutes on visualizing it, you need to spend 8 minutes on feeling it. So you can't just visualize there's a perfect house, there's a pool, there's a barbecue. I know what I want. This looks good. The business is going really well. That's like almost no points for that. I guess maybe 1 point of 100 for
Hmm.
that. But what we got to do is be like, ooh, yes. Well, if it's summer 2026 and I was by the pool and my business did double and my daughter is there with new friends that she met in Connecticut and I was feeling prouder than ever and my gym routine did go next level and my body did feel even more vibrant and there I fucking am sitting by the pool. Fuck, how do I feel? And then the energy practice starts. And then you go like, well, fuck, I would just feel in awe. I would feel like I have this sneaky smile. I would feel like, oh, fuck, oh my God, this is so good. I'd feel like also a sense of normalcy, but proud. I would feel like, ooh, this is a juicy life. Oh, this is exactly what I want. Oh God, it's so good. It's so good. Oh, so good. I did it. I did it. I'm here. God, it's just the beginning. And so going into how would this feel? I can dip into and experience the energy of next year, but I'm experiencing it now. And that's energy work. Feeling the feeling of something you want in the future, but feeling the vibrational essence of it now, that is manifestation.
Right. Well, and we're always manifesting something, right? So,
Mhm. Yeah.
but
Yeah, I
what's
guess
happening?
suppose it's the intentional manifesting
The
work.
intentional manifesting, right? So, my question is, and this is, I think, a common thing. Um, how do you do that when you look around and you're not feeling that way now, and or I think more importantly, without invalidating what you have now, because you're like you said, like you're completely excited about what you have now, but you're even going into the future and like, I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about this, right? Like, how do you do that without invalidating what you've already done, what you've already created?
Yeah, I you can add if you feel like you have some wobbly energy over the now, then you would absolutely want to take some moments before doing this of appreciating the now.
Yeah.
I even 5 it takes about 5 if you took a piece of, printer paper like this, it would take about 5 minutes to fill up one side of that piece of paper with random things you appreciate.
Right.
And so I would say that you would do that. You would say, God, like, actually, like, I appreciate like this deck. I appreciate this coffee. I appreciate like the business actually is like pretty good. I really actually appreciate the people in my life. I really like this couch. I really like this pillow. I really like these cozy blankets. Like, I've actually done a lot to get here. I've actually been a badass. I've actually been navigating life quite well. I've actually, I'd be putting appreciation to myself and what is actually here. For me, I don't really have wobbly energy over the now because I actually really enjoy the now. I've been working on this and doing this for a while.
Yeah.
So I usually am walking around feeling like pretty good about myself. But I
Yeah.
know how the energy works. And if I know that if I want to supercharge my manifestations, then I'm going to as often as I can think of how can I feel a little bit better? How can I feel a little bit better? And there's a lot of ways to do that. And one way is to have this vision and be thinking about how would this juicy future feel. But there could be other ways too. You could ask yourself, how could I feel better right now? And you might get answers like, I need a nap, I need a bath, I need a cookie, I need a salad. I should call somebody, I should say yes to something, I should say no to something. So there's infinite ways on a micro level to shift into something that feels better right now, right now. But I'm in the business of like juicing this up as much as possible and helping people really go next level. And so I know that the most powerful exercise you could do is to do, I call this future casting, where you have this vision of where you want to go and you start building up the energy of it. But there is a nuance here. It's not like the energy of a house, a pool, family. It's not like there's like some unique code of energy there and you need to figure out this unique vibration. It's not that. It's so much more simpler. It is, how would you feel?
Exactly.
How would you feel if you had this? That is the vibration. And for a lot of us, it's very similar. I would feel good. I would feel proud. I would feel like, oh my God, I'm
At
doing it.
peace, I'd feel
I'd have
relaxed.
peace.
I'd
I'd
feel
relax. I'd
comfortable.
feel love. I'd feel
Love.
supported. I'd feel like in awe. Right. And so and all of that is actually source energy, God energy, universe energy. It's like that feeling of like pure universal love coming through your body.
Yeah. No, I love it. And, I'll just talk about a couple of the main things I got from working with you, and then I'm going to ask you another question. But number one, the biggest thing that I got from working with you is having the actual ability to feel good independent of circumstances.
Correct.
Because you were the one that really kind of pointed out to me, like, Jeff, you're already successful, but I wasn't viewing myself as such. And so it was like I was successful and miserable.
Correct.
And now obviously I could be more successful and there was other things about that, but from the outside looking in, you're like, Jeff, you're already successful. What are you bitching about, right? And so So that was an important thing, and I've learned to do that most of the time. Of course, there's things that happen. I'm like, oh shit, but I can really shift that energy much quickly. And of course, that's like, oh, this is an indicator that I'm going to my next level because it's showing up what I need to deal with to go to my next level, right? And the other thing was that there really is no magic way to get to that feeling good place. However, you get to that feeling good place is however you get to that feeling good place. But it's only going to quote unquote work if you get to that feeling good place, independent of what's happening right now.
Yes.
And that to me is like the most valuable skill a person can have on this
Is.
planet.
It's the
That is
only
the
skill
golden
we need.
ticket.
It's the golden ticket. It's basically saying, I am not conditional anymore. It's saying that I can feel good regardless of the conditions. And as soon as you are able to not be conditional, you are powerful.
Exactly.
Meaning, I can control how I feel regardless of what is going around me, which means my energy is stronger than what's going on around me, which means my energy transforms what is going on around me.
Because my energy is doing that anyways.
Our energy is doing that
It's
anyways.
doing it anyways, so I might as well have some influence over it, you
Yes,
know?
exactly.
So that's like huge. So in regards to working with clients or, you have coaches now that work with clients, what would you say is like the most common advice that you're giving to people? Like one, two, or three things.
So I would say that the common advice is, hey, there's basically three things we have to do. Because advice is a weird word. Advice usually means like, hey, you should do this, you
Right.
should do that.
You don't give
So
advice. Yeah, but
I'm almost completely broken of the habit of giving advice, right?
yeah.
Because advice sounds like, don't eat gluten, or you should say this to somebody, or you should do this. That's all tactical life moves, right? So at this point, I am only, or I'm trying my best, and I'm at like, I'd say 95% at the place of I'm only advising on energy alignment. Because when somebody knows how to align their energy, they know the next tactical step.
Yes.
Now, if they want to brainstorm tactical steps and have a conversation and take from it what they like or not, fine. However, I'm going to be like the place to go to know how do I actually own my motherfucking energy.
Right.
And so, if I was to be guiding somebody, I'd say there's three things we got to do. The first thing is we have to understand what kind of negative thought patterns, narrative stories, belief systems, explanations you have that might be true but are energetically unhelpful. What's your whole fucking story? If we were at lunch and you were to lay it all down to me, what would you say? Because that story comes with an energy and you cannot rid the energy while telling the story. If you want a new life, you need a new story. So the first thing is we got to take an inventory of all the bullshit that is running rampant in your mind, and we need to take an inventory of it because we need to start learning how to gently shift that.
Yeah.
Number two, we've got to be able to do this future casting thing we were just talking about, which is saying like this whole like that, what I just talked about, shifting the narrative, that's like getting out of jail. That is like unblocking yourself.
Yeah.
That's powerful. When we pair that with this future casting, which is number two, we're now saying, I'm going to start intentionally brewing up the energy of where I want to go. So we're looking at this like critical combination of reducing negative self-talk and increasing your God energy, increasing your source energy, increasing your proud, increasing your appreciation, increasing your swagger, increasing your awe. So as we reduce negative narratives and increase that energy that's at the core of all of us, that's the magical combination. And then the third thing would be learning how to have a little grace on ourselves and navigate the dips and go easy on ourselves and learn how to do this energy work but while also maintaining and allowing energy. The good news is, Jav, as you know, we do not have to be perfect at all three of these things. We
Yeah.
need to just make progress in all of these things and do a little bit. And it's amazing how much can happen from just a little bit of this work. And then when you take it even further, you speed things up. And when you make it your life's dedication, shit, now you're one of them.
Yep. Making it a part-time job because I already had a full-time job, right?
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
and most people do. So that's perfect. The lay it out in the 3 steps like that. And as I shared with you, the video that actually I first saw of you that hooked me was that one about, well, your energy is actually determined by the story that you're telling. And the story that you're telling would be like, well, if you're going to sit down with a friend at lunch and catch them up, that's your story. And I was like, holy shit, that's fucking my story.
Like, what did
I'm
I
like,
say at lunch today?
that's simple, right? Whether I'm talking to my son or I'm talking to my wife or whoever it is, and I'm
Mhm.
updating them on what's going on,
Mhm.
like that's the energy of what's going on. And that's what I'm continuing to manifest because that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, holy shit. Right. And that is the first step.
Yes.
So, and that's a process, right? Like never kind of really done with being aware of what you're thinking and,
Never.
and feeling, right? Which is the beautiful thing. So we can always influence that. That's awesome. So what are some other things that I want to go over here? We're doing really good on time, by the way. This is
I was just
awesome.
thinking, is my clock like timed out because it's only 25 past the hour?
I know. This is like
Like we covered it all.
I know it's like time is standing still, but it's moving really fast, right? Because we're clicking. Let me see what else we got here. Here's a good one. And let me so the name of your program is the Flow program, but it has a longer name. What's the full name of your program?
Flow dash forge forward fiercely.
Yes. Okay. So what does that mean to be in flow?
To be in flow means to be taking actions from a place of alignment. Because when you are taking actions from a place of stress, from a place of frustration, time shortage, there's this essence of efforting. Like, I got to get this done. I got to do this. There's this like common mistake that we think that like we're actually making things happen, right?
Yeah.
And there's no amount of efforting that can get us anything substantial. And I mean, you can take a look at some doctors, lawyers, and they've efforted and now they're making $700,000 a year. Okay, maybe that's the cap of it, right? Or somewhere around that. But they're not happy. They don't really feel successful. So we're looking at flow being I am taking actions from a place of alignment, which means that I prioritize alignment. And the actions you take from alignment, what you do happens to be whatever the fuck you feel like doing.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Which is awesome.
so it turns out that when you take actions from a place of alignment, it doesn't feel like efforting. It feels like you're just getting a project done.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, somebody like, well, if I were to only do what I want to do, I would just nap all day. Well, you know what? It might mean that you need some rest. It might need, but after 3 days of napping, you're not going to feel like napping anymore. You're going to feel like cleaning your basement. And then you're going to feel like cleaning out your email inbox. And then you're going to feel like going and buying a book and going to a cafe and getting a fresh journal and doing some, right? So it's like, a lot of the times, especially in the beginning, when we get into alignment, what we feel like doing is counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense. But we know that, okay, if I've drank this Kool-Aid, when I'm feeling bulletproof, when I'm feeling unshakable, when I'm feeling that sexy swagger, that's when I have the ideas. That's when I'm a vibrational match. And whatever I feel like doing from a high place is the path of least resistance, is what I feel like doing, and is the quickest way to whatever you're trying to manifest or achieve.
Which is awesome. And I completely understand what that feels like. And I'm like that a lot of the time, not all the time, right? Because when you're efforting and you're like, I'm just trying to control things, right? And that particular concept of alignment is really why I'm so excited about doing this work. Because after being in business for 30 years, after being in the training industry for business for 30 years, the thing that was most frustrating to me was watching because I sold people the program. So I sold them. I was excited about helping them. But by statistics, only 30% of the people had like measurable financial success. And the mechanics were the same, right? It's like we know that we have to do these things in order to be successful, but it's like, as you said, you can't give people advice. You can't make them do anything. right? Because people have their stories, they have their energy, they have all this stuff. And this is a story. This is not my story. It's somebody in the dental industry story who I saw speak last month, and he said, and this guy's been around for a lot of years. He's about my age, and he's very successful. And he said, when I was a young boy, I had the intention that I was going to make. I set the goal. I was going to make. I wanted to make $1 million a year and have $1 million in the bank. And after about 13 years, he goes, I remember the day that I got the tax return from my accountant and I had $1 million at the bank and I had made $1 million. And he goes, you know what? I was fucking miserable. He goes, I was working 7 days a week. I wasn't sleeping. I was drinking all the time. I was completely stressed out of my head. And I'm like, wow. Right. And then now he was telling the story about how he realized that. And now he's put in more intentionality into his life about taking things slow and being more intentional about what he was building and how he was building it. And he turned that around. And maybe he knew the law of attraction. We didn't have a long conversation with him after that. But it was like, that's the story. Like, that's the typical, like, I can set that goal and I can make that goal and I can have financial success and everybody's going to look at me and think I'm successful because I have the business, I have the money, I have the family, I have the cars, but inside they're dying.
Yeah,
And there's just
exactly.
story after story of
We
what's
were talking
coming
about
to
that
light.
earlier.
What's that?
We were talking about that earlier with success. Like you know, you can have these people are making $700,000 a year or whatever million, and they're dying. They're dying on the inside. They trade
Right.
it all for a shack on the beach and a lover in 2 seconds.
Exactly. And I think this is like millions of people right now. Right? I think this is the story of millions of people. And I think this message of being able to be happy unconditionally doesn't mean that you have to give up all those things. It just means that you have to learn the skill of how to navigate those situations so that you can feel good no matter what's going on. Because I've always operated off the belief, or at least most of my adult life, that everything that happens is happening for a reason. And it's not a bad reason, but at the time we feel like shit because we have basically expectations that we've set that it didn't meet those expectations. It doesn't look like I thought it was going to look. So now I don't feel good because it doesn't look that way. When in reality, I'm getting exactly what I'm asked for. It just didn't show up the way that I thought it was going to show up.
Yeah.
Right. And that's basically, the way life works. We can't actually control it. We can only respond to the energy of it and know that everything's actually working out in our favor as long as we allow things to unfold and we're holding that really energy, that high vibration energy of where we want to go.
Mhm.
Because that's the part that we can play because we're interacting with 8 billion people on this planet and we can't predict shit, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's like a super important lesson. And that's really the whole point. The whole point of the reason why we want the money and the cars and the this and the that is to feel good.
Is to feel good. Yep.
And so if we figure out how to feel good now, then we can really
Mhm.
enjoy all of that stuff when it
Mhm.
comes because it is fleeting. Because
Yes.
and you maybe can relate to this, but this was me and you didn't give this to me, but you helped me to realize this is that everything's actually working out. Everything's actually okay. And once I realized that, I could relax when I was not working, so to speak.
Yeah.
I could be in
Yeah.
flow when I'm working, and then I could turn that shit off and just walk away knowing that everything's actually working out the way it's supposed to work out. And energetically, I can handle most anything that's going to come up,
Yeah.
right? And that's what it's all about, right? Like that's the
Yeah.
most important thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things in your training that really stuck out to me, and I know this was a big thing for you, was that there's a difference between learning about something in theory and being able to act or execute on that thing. What was that the concept the
Yeah,
exact
I
concept in the video training?
yeah, I originally when I was in business school, which actually was almost 20 years ago, I'm like, "Damn, I look good for somebody who went to got their MBA almost 20 years ago."
Yeah.
I did that math recently. I'm still riding
Yeah.
high on that. But there was this book. I had a professor. I did project management certification, and there was this book. I didn't read the book, but the title gave me everything I needed to know. The title was "The Knowing Doing Gap."
Yeah.
Recognizing that there's a gap between knowing something and doing it. And there's a large chasm, and there's a big difference between learning about manifestation and actually doing it. And I was stuck in that phase for the first few years. Sure, did I do little things? Yes, but did I take everything in the videos literally? Did I execute everything in the videos? No, because I was digesting the information. I was rewiring my brain. And there's a certain period where you need that, but
Yeah.
you want to be really cognizant because, as you know, most of my clients are older than me, right? I've got clients, you've been into for what, 20 years before we met this
Hmm.
kind of stuff. I've
Hmm.
got several 70-plus-year-old clients who've been doing this work for 40 years. They'd been a landmark, Bob Proctor, Tony Robbins, and they come and do flow, and they're like, this was the missing piece. Right? Because there's so much time learning. So you've got to really take a tab on yourself. Am I learning? And we get dopamine hits when we learn. And then the dopamine makes us feel better, which leads us to not actually doing what we just learned. And this is this little vicious learning cycle. Or am I sitting my goddamn ass down and writing out my motherfucking story and then shifting it? Am I
Hmm.
sitting down and bullet pointing out this vision of where I want to go and spending time actually feeling into it? Am I actually doing these things? And the difference is everything.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly how it's phrased, but it's like the difference between learning and doing the work. Because like doing the work is doing the energy work, writing things down that you're appreciative of,
Let's
you
just
know.
define doing the energy work, right?
Yeah.
Doing the energy work means sitting down and without any conditions in the world changing, without your spouse saying sorry, without more money coming in, without politics changing, without anything else happening, you sitting down and with nothing else changing, you get yourself to feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
That's energy work.
Yeah. Well, can I do that by, you know, having a drink or, and maybe tripping or
Sure.
something like that? You
You
know what I mean?
sure
Like
you
this
can.
is the thing, right? Like this is,
However, if you
yeah,
did that, you're outsourcing the work. And if you're outsourcing the work, you're rendered powerless.
that's a huge point though, right?
And I'm
That's
not saying you can't drink. I like wine. I've never done plant medicine. Would I? Sure. Of course I would experience that. But there's going to be a difference between, am I dependent on that? Do you need to do plant medicine every 3 months? Do you need to have a drink every single night? For me, I never drink if I'm feeling low energy. I only drink when I'm in high energy and excited to share a meal with somebody, right? And so it's really the difference here. However, we need an individual to have their own capability of sitting their ass down and being able to shift their energy, their emotions without any conditions.
exactly. And that's a huge point because I mean, look at all the things that happen now, whether it be getting dopamine hits on your phone or from drinking or from somebody feeling a certain way or from having a certain job or living a certain, like all of these things, right? But as one of my um, clients says that when we talk about this in working in a business, like in the dental office, we always want the schedule to be full and productive. Okay. And when it's not, and your that energy goes down, when a client says like nobody's attracted to a stinky cologne, right? So it's like when your cologne is stinky and you want it the most, what happens? It runs away from you. So if you could sit there and just take whatever it is that you're served, so to speak, because it's the way that we're looking at it, and we can look at it in a positive way, but positive is basically feel good about it, genuinely, authentically good about it, then good things will happen. If
Yeah.
we're sitting down and like we feel like shit about it, or we're complaining about it, or we're telling the story about how bad it is to our coworkers, what's going to happen? We're going
Yeah.
to get more of those bad things. We're going to, that's what's going to be attracted to. So doing that quote unquote work is the energy work. which is whatever you need to do to get into that place where you feel good going into your day or going into whatever. And that's where I think so many of us analytically knew that because we've heard it said in so many different ways. But what it is that you gave us the tools to do is how to do that. Like, how do you actually
How do you
do that?
actually do it? Exactly.
And that's where the coaching, the one-on-one coaching comes in because everybody, I mean, the first time you asked me the question, Jeff, like, what do you want, Jeff? It's like all the shit that was going through my head, which and all the reasons why I couldn't have that and why that wasn't possible were just sitting there on the tip of my tongue, ready to come out.
It's so normal.
Right? Because that's what happens. Like it's really hard to do that by yourself.
It can be, yeah. You
You
can,
know,
I did it,
you
but
can.
it took me 10 years.
Exactly. Exactly.
Remember 10 years ago, I remember Google searching law of attraction coach, and it just wasn't a thing 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you're the one, right? But also, you were dedicated. Like you had probably watched exponentially more videos on Abraham Hicks, and you've chosen Abraham as your main source of
Yeah,
that
they're all the same.
information.
All the teachers are the same.
They are all the same.
You just choose the one with the voice that resonates. They're streaming the same ideas. So you can take whatever, right? Even you can take whatever. But at the root of almost everybody's teaching is this stuff.
Right. And that's where, you though taking that and saying, okay, this is how you do that. And this is how you do it for you is something that is helpful to have a coach do it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, could you do it on your own? Of course you could. But the reason why you hire a coach is because you want to do it faster.
Yeah, you want to do it faster? Absolutely. And you want to know you're not wasting time doing it incorrectly. And most people on their own don't go deep enough, don't stay consistent enough, and don't do it with like the ride or die attention it requires.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why, as I'm now going through, what I'm going through with traffic control and building that, I'm building it based on what it is that you've taught me, which is we know the mechanics of ads. We know the mechanics of selling. We know the strategy of business. But unless you're energetically aligned to what it is that you're doing, it's not going to work at all or not going to work as well. And then that's going to be my fault. And
Good point.
one of the things that, on my journey to finding you, and I'm paraphrasing this from Rich Dad Poor Dad in his second book, which was the cash flow quadrants, is he was talking about it's basically how we make cash. I mean, it's known how we make cash. Either you're work for somebody, you're an entrepreneur, you own a business, or you're an investor. Like these are the ways that you make cash. But if you want to move from work for somebody else to an investor, that's a big shift. Like meaning all of my money's coming from investments as opposed to all of my money's coming from working for somebody. Because everybody wants the investor part, right?
Right.
But why isn't everybody there? And he says, the reason why has nothing to do with the mechanics of business, because the mechanics of business are easy. It's dealing with people that's hard.
My God. So true.
And dealing with people, because we're all emotional beings, and how we respond to situations ultimately determine how that goes. And me, like that hitting me between the eyes, which I remember exactly where I was when I did, because I was recovering from my knee surgery, ultimately led me to finding you, because that's what my attention was on. It's like, look, I've been doing this for 28 years. I know the mechanics. Why am I not going at the pace that I want to go at? And
Yeah.
that's actually the key to
It's a key.
unlocking the golden ticket,
So
right?
good.
Is
So good.
emotions and energy and how we interact with people. Because every business will have people in it.
Exactly.
Every business has people. Doesn't matter whether it's digital or brick and mortar or whatever it is, they all got people. So that's really the most important thing in business, because we know everything by now. It's all available online. Everything is available now. It's all about emotional intelligence, and the most emotions that we have to be intelligent about is our own.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
awesome.
Hey, my battery's about to die. I think my charger just broke.
Oh, your
And I don't.
battery on your PC.
Yeah, this little guy is just. Well, I don't know what's going on. My battery.
Well,
So
let's
let
see
me
if we
just see
can
if I
squeak in
can.
one last question before it dies, and it'll everything will happen perfectly
Oh,
anyways.
yeah. Okay, I just got it to work again. But yes, I have 6%. So let's
Let's
do
do
one
it.
more. Okay.
So, if you were looking, you deal with all different types of people, but entrepreneurs and business owners is a big chunk of it. So, um, what would be one belief, or how would you articulate one belief that every entrepreneur would need to have in order to be successful?
It's possible and almost and guaranteed if they actually do the energy work.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah. And then they'd have to be willing to realize, like, a lot of times we're holding two beliefs at once. There's one belief that's like, fuck, this seems impossible. And then there's this other belief that's like, no, but it is possible. So then the question is which one gets more airtime? Which means if we calculated how many minutes a day do you hold the vibrational essence of, fuck, this seems impossible, versus how many minutes a day are you exercising? It is fucking possible. It is possible. We need the it's possible to be slightly more than the it's not possible.
Yeah,
So a lot of times people show up believing both, but 90% of their or 98% of their attention or their energy is, I don't see how this is going to happen. And very rarely are they really going into, no, but I do know it's possible. So we then have to say, okay, what's the narrative and story around it not being possible? How can we shift this? How can we get you out of the jail of being locked into it's not possible? And then how do we start exercising and growing the emotional muscle of it's possible? It's like literally working out. You want to, do
yeah,
some reps and get your muscles strong. You need to do some reps on thinking it's possible, it's possible. So we're going to reduce the stories around it being hard and difficult, and we're going to increase that's the it is possible energy.
yeah, exactly. Well, and when you say that too, when you talk about um, saying these things, right? Like you think about the old, saying positive affirmations in the mirror, which it's not really that because you have to feel it. Like you have to feel it's possible. And the thing that was most impactful when you talked about the minutes in the day is that we all are not, well, not all of us, a lot of us are perfectionists. Like we like to think we have to do things 100%, but you don't. It just has to be a little bit more each day. And that little bit more each
Yeah.
day builds momentum.
The compounding effect of a little bit every day
Yeah.
is huge.
It is huge, and especially when you're around all the people that are going through the same thing at different levels in the flow community, it just really, really
Yeah.
really bites hard in a good way. Right.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for your time and attention and energy, most
Absolutely.
importantly.
It's always fun to banter.
Yeah, exactly. So, how do people reach out to you, connect with you, find out more about, the flow program?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, hey, you just listen to this podcast, you drink a little bit of Kool-Aid, go drink a little bit more Kool-Aid. Go find me on TikTok, Law of Attraction with Alleah, Instagram, Facebook, and almost every video I say, if you want to go deeper, grab the free abundance meditation. The link's in the bio. So go find me on one of those platforms, watch a couple videos, make sure you've fallen madly in love with me. And if so, go get the goddamn abundance meditation in the link in the bio. You'll thank me, and then if you feel inspired, there'll be instructions on how to go further.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. I appreciate you.
Big kiss, Jeff.
Mwah.